I'm Sharon Gray. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology at Augustana University down in Sioux Falls. And welcome those of you in the room, and welcome those of you who are visiting us online. This presentation came out of a screening that we did at Augustana of coded bias. And so you'll hear me speaking about that a lot. But so I wanted to give you a sense of how you can help your students be aware of this. And at the end, we will have an opportunity for you to share some ideas of ways that you might consider, or your students might encounter algorithmic bias in whatever field you're teaching. And I want to also take this brief minute to mention a tool that I use to create this presentation. It's called gamma.app. It's awesome. It's like Google Slides or PowerPoint on steroids. So GAMMA.app. It's a tool that one of our music instructors, Frank Cook, opened my eyes up to. And essentially, it takes whatever content that you are going to be presenting and it makes it look really super professional. So if you get nothing more out of this than that, it will be, I think, maybe worth your while. All right. And this is another thing it lets you do. By pressing the S, I'm now able to hide things and have them come on sequentially. So that's built in. Anyway, age of embedded AI. It's everywhere, from Google, Siri responses to YouTube and TikTok feeds, to college loan and employment apps, to predictive policing. It's impacting us all the time. And we tend to rely on it for things that humans have been responsible for in the past. And unfortunately, there's this false sense of neutrality. There's a sense that decisions made by AI are somehow impeccable, but decisions made by AI are not inherently fair nor objective. AI is trained on data with human biases. And so what is algorithmic bias? I've got a definition here from IBM. We don't have to watch the video, but you've got access if you want to look at it later. It's simply talking about when systematic errors in machine learning algorithms produce unfair or discriminatory outcomes that reflect or reinforce existing socioeconomic, racial, and gender biases. So as you might imagine, these AI are trained on data that is historical, that's been around for years. And that data is not clean. That data definitely is imbued with, it has lots of bias running through it. However, once it starts being spewed out by an AI, we sort of think that it somehow got some credibility that it doesn't deserve. Unintentional biases in data or design become encoded in systems affecting millions, but users tend to trust outputs because they come from AI. So some key voices that you want to keep your eyes open for. Joy Buolamwini wrote Unmasking AI. She's also featured in Coded Bias, the video I'm going to encourage you to have your students watch. Kathy O'Neill wrote Weapons of Math Destruction. Love that title. And Sophia Nobel wrote Algorithms of Oppression. There are others, but those are three that are really knowledgeable and really kind of taking the field. Real world consequences. We sometimes don't think about how this is playing out in real world. In employment, you've got AI screening. They end up excluding diverse candidates for job opportunities. One of the stories you might have heard about in the news was when Amazon was running an AI scanner, it was finding that the AI was discarding any applicants that had women's colleges. And what it was determining is that all AI is basically, any algorithm is trying to optimize for a condition. And it says, well, employees at Amazon tend to not be from those colleges. Therefore, an employee at Amazon should not come from one of those colleges. And they didn't realize until they looked under the hood, which often you can't look under the hood. They didn't realize that that was happening. And of course, they addressed it. But it goes without saying that it's happening all over the place. Financial services, algorithms penalize zip codes linked to race or poverty in loan approvals. So it's like reinstating redlining. Healthcare, risk models underestimate the needs of minority patients, partly because they're not often in the data sets that are being looked at. Or it says that they need less care because they get less care because they have less money to get the care. And so it's perpetuating. Criminal justice, sentencing algorithms show racial disparities in recommendations. And how it creeps into AI. You'll have things like flawed data. So the data coming in, this historical bias is baked into these training sets that the AI is using. You have model assumptions. Any model makes some assumptions. That's the nature of it. It's trying to make something easier by making some assumptions and streamlining. Well, these statistical shortcuts will sometimes overlook context, and they won't really reflect what they should. Lack of diverse output, homogeneous design teams create blinded systems that are not fully aware of, and you'll see in the coded bias, Joy Bulamwini does a wonderful job of explaining that, how if these systems are trained on one set of data, and then they are excluding certain voices or certain faces, the result is going to be biased as well. Misplaced trust goes back to that. We believe that an algorithmic infallibility prevents critical scrutiny. We think that because it's AI, because it's technology, it somehow is more credible and we shouldn't question it. Why students must care. Digital fluency equals algorithmic justice fluency. Understanding AI is a civic skill. It's something we all need to be able to do and aware of. The next generation of creators, ethical design starts now. I like to emphasize this when I'm talking to my computer science students. They are the ones who are going to be going out and making a difference. Sometimes students feel like, well, the laws have been written, so I guess I have to live with the system that I've been given. They don't realize how, oh, no. These things are in flux. You are the one who's going to be going out there into the world and potentially making these positive changes. So I think that they need to hear that. Students need to be, that's where that empowering from my title comes. They need to be empowered. They need to be sensing how much power they really do have, especially as computer designers. And then inaction equals complicity. Science allows discriminatory systems to flourish. We don't do anything or say anything. You want to ask key questions. Who built the algorithm? What data were used to train the algorithm? Who potentially benefits or is harmed by the algorithm? And then to move past that, promoting better practices, transparency in AI systems, as much as possible, being able to look under the hood or have the AI system report how it got to whatever solution or conclusion it got to. Holding accountability for outcomes, and then maintaining ethical skepticism of claims, sort of withholding a little bit just because you know that there is the potential for bias. What can we do about it? Well, we can educate, and this is going to be a little bit tricky. Notice that with the AI, I can expand now, and I'm going to turn off the S. These are some of those voices I was telling you about. Bulamwini, Joy Bulamwini, founder of Algorithmic Justice League. Kathy O'Neill, author of Weapons of Mass Destruction. Meredith Broussard, author of Artificial Unintelligence. And I'm working through this new little mouse situation. I can't get to the bottom. Safia Noble, Tufiki, and Amy Webb are basically three more of them. I find it kind of interesting that they are all female. And let me get back to present on that one. Sorry about that. This is one of the tricks, is that when you hit escape off of one of those pages like I was on, it then wants to go out of the presentation mode. Don't quite have the answer to that one yet, but there we go. So now we hit that, then we close it. So you're learning with me on Gamma. Anyway, we want to educate. We want to learn from those voices. That Algorithmic Justice League is a great resource, a great website. Evaluate the tools that we use. daily for potential bias, be very aware of the answers that Siri's giving you, that, you know, Google's giving you, that YouTube's providing for you. Be critical of what you're getting from those algorithms, because as you know, not only are you leaning toward a filter bubble, but you also are now depending upon an algorithm that is hopefully learning from you, but it might be learning from you things that you did wish that it wasn't learning from you. Advocate, campaign for responsible AI in your community and institutions. Create, design inclusive and just digital tools that serve everyone. So here's that coded bias. And I'm actually going to turn off my S so you can see all of it. This was last year. The Psychology Club, the Neuroscience Club, and the Psychology, Neuroscience, and Computer Science Department all decided to go together. The students actually ran this show. We faculty helped them, but they were the ones that wanted to have this happen. And we hosted a screening of coded bias. And this is the, so Shalini Catania is one of the filmmakers of it. She wrote, "What was terrifying to me while making coded bias was that AI, not vetted for accuracy or bias, were already being deployed at a massive scale to make important decisions about who gets hired, who gets healthcare, who gets into college, or how long a prison sentence someone serves." That shook me out of my seat. And this video series, we had the toolkit, which you'll see here in a minute. Let me give this to you. I'm going to let you watch the video trailer briefly. This should be copyright okay. I'm very sensitive to that sort of thing. It's a trailer for a video, and so hopefully it's...
During my first semester at MIT, I got computer vision software that was supposed to track my face. It didn't work until I put on this white mask. I'm thinking, all right, what's going on here? Is it the lighting conditions? Is it the angle at which I'm looking at the camera, or is there something more? That's when I started looking into issues of bias that can creep into technology.
Our ideas about technology that we think are normal are actually ideas that come from a very small and homogeneous group of people.
Vast amounts of data at incredible speeds.
Everybody has unconscious biases, and people embed their own biases into technology.
This kid got stopped as a result of facial recognition misidentification, and then used that as justification to search you. This is an innocent child.
Racism is becoming mechanized.
Systemic issues are only going to be hardwired into new technologies.
It's not just face classification, it's any data-centric technology.
Every day, we are all being scored.
Who gets hired, who gets housing.
I am making predictions for your life right now.
The people who own the code deploy it on other people, and there is no accountability.
Management at Atlantic Towers wanted to install the facial recognition software. Pretty much turn this place into Fort Knox.
The technology is being rapidly adopted, and there are no safeguards.
We are socially controlled in a way that we don't see.
Technology that analyzes faces could be biased, but the company is pushing it anyway.
What demographic is it most effective on?
White men.
Show me that it's going to be fair, that it's legal, before you put it out. That's what we don't have yet.
It's going to take people coming together, striving for justice in this age of automation.
People go to the next slide, or if it, yeah. Usually I have to then go out, and let's try now. Yeah. Again, some glitchy things with Gamma. There must be some ways around this, but I haven't figured them out yet. There we are. So these are some of the sources that you have available. They're free. The Coded Bias Takes Action Activist Toolkit, discussion guide, information on how to host a screening guide for policymakers. And the students said we got feedback from them. After viewing and participating in the discussion, they felt empowered to take action. They felt a sense of, oh my gosh, there is a way to make a difference here. The glossary I've got here just briefly for you: algorithm, set of rules used to perform a task or optimize a condition, artificial intelligence, computers with the ability to perform tasks that have in the past required human intelligence and discernment, like decision-making, visual perception, speech recognition, language translation, and more. Algorithmic justice, exposing the bias and harms from technical systems in order to safeguard those marginalized and develop equitable, accountable, and just artificial intelligence. Bias, implicit or explicit prejudices in favor of or against a person or groups of people. Black box, a system that can be viewed only through its inputs and outputs, not its internal process. And that AI, much of what we're encountering with AI is a black box. We don't know how it's coming to the decisions it's coming to. Machine learning, an approach to AI that provides systems the ability to learn patterns from data without being explicitly programmed. Can perpetuate bias by uncritically ingesting and learning from biased sources. And recidivism risk assessment is an automated decision-making system used in sentencing and probation to predict an individual's risk of future criminal behavior based on a series of inputs such as zip codes and past offenses. And this is a link to the movement, join the movement of the Algorithmic Justice League. This is a wonderful TED Talk. Again, we're not going to watch these things today, but you have access to them with the slideshow. And go to the next slide. Yes, these are some resources, some other really helpful resources. By the way, as a tip for how it works with the Gamma, all I needed to do was import the card and it chose the graphic. So these are just links in Gamma, but it knows to view them as cards. And so it's putting the website's link on it automatically. But the AI Now Institute, Fight for the Future, Big Brother Watch, Color of Change, Data and Society, and Face Recognition. Those are all some good resources. And then down here, Stop Surveillance Technology Oversight and Privacy Technology, the American Civil Liberties Union. If you are in computer science, this is a good tool. It allows you to visually probe the behavior of trained machine learning models with minimal coding. You can go in and you can plug in something and then modify some of the inputs and see how that changes the output. And it's actually, it's a Google what if tool. All right, so that's a lot. And we still, thank goodness, have 10 minutes. I was hoping we'd have time for talking because that's the main thing I want to do here. I want you to think about and share with us what area you teach. What areas are we coming from? Are we in humanities? Are we in sciences? Are we psychology? Anybody want to call out an area? Sciences, okay. English, wonderful. All right. Human resources, interesting, yes. Yeah. Engineering, okay. Anybody else? Natural resources, all right. So then the next question would be, how can you envision algorithmic bias potentially relating to your area? Anybody want to share with that? And for the people online, I'm sorry, I should be, we had English, natural resources, human resources, sciences, and engineering, yes, and English. So yeah, and if you're online, feel free to chime in and you can share anything that an online person might be adding to us, all right? So how does algorithmic bias potentially relate to your subject area? Yes, English. Making arguments and research, yes. Bias sources for argument, yep. Good. Anybody else have an idea thinking about your area, the human resources? I'm looking at you.
Yeah. Like recruitment.
Yeah.
Like employee assessments, like
yes.
Hiring, firing, promoting, all of that stuff. It's all they're using
applications and assessment. Yep. Employee.
Literature review, bias versus.
Yes. Yep.
That science is valid.
Literature review. Yep. How might you encourage greater awareness of algorithmic bias in your area? How could you think of, I would encourage all of you to consider looking at a computer science club or some psychology club or some club and see if they want to host one of these, because it's really easy to do. The students just ran with it. Once they realized, that they could put this thing on and had all the resources to do so, they really took it over and ran with it, which was wonderful. We did end up having someone from psychology, someone from neuroscience, and someone from computer science. I was computer science, talk a little bit at the beginning and be kind of human faces on a panel. So it wasn't just watching a video, but you wouldn't really even need that part. Anybody, any ideas on things? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Real world examples, like when you talked about like Amazon and eliminating women's colleges, like showing like it's not just like this big concept, like this is a real thing that happened and how it impacts real people.
Yep. So the Amazon story, the real world stories are helpful to make it real, make them understand that it is happening out there.
And I think just like describing the human impact, like a lot of students do it mindlessly.
Yes.
They don't realize that there's something beyond the computer
Yes.
having an impact. And so even just connecting it back to like, who are you as an individual and how is this, here's how it impacts you.
Yep.
If you are someone who is a minority, like this is still against you. Just like bringing that awareness.
Bringing the awareness back to the individual. Yeah. How it really does impact them. Yes.
So I was kind of thinking about how this is one of those spaces where you have people who are content experts and then the people who know like how policy works and how politics works and how that, I mean, that's an opportunity, but also a place where policy breaks, right? Like the people making the policy don't understand.
Yes. That's a good one. I'm going to try to relate for the people on site that you've got subject matter experts, content, and you have policy experts. And that can be an opportunity, but that can also mean that you have a disconnect where they're not informed of what their decisions are going to be doing. Anybody else have anything on there? How might you empower students to make a change?
I think just giving them the tools they need, because it's like Gen Z is a generation of activists.
Yeah.
They want to have purpose, they want to have a drive. And so giving them the things that they need to start.
Yep. Giving that Gen Z who are already activists, the tools and the resources. Yeah. The last slide I have here is this position was created with the assistance of ChatGPT. So basically I had what I wanted to say, set it up to ChatGPT and said, how would you parse this out? And then I said, I don't think so, but no, I didn't quite say that. But then I modified it and then took that and pulled it into the PowerPoint app, call it PowerPoint on steroids, but it's Gamma AI, it's Gamma app. But I do want to talk about, since we have a few minutes left, I'm going to go back out to the beginning of this slideshow. We're going to talk about this because this was exceedingly frustrating and I am in this field. All right. So I want to mention this because it was frustrating. I'm asking, my prompt for this thing was I've given it my content so it can tell I'm talking about diversity. It can tell I'm talking about algorithmic bias. And it insisted, it insisted on giving me 3 people of color as my main image. I said, I want a white person in there. And it, try as I might, I got one where this turned this woman over here to a white guy, but he definitely did not look like any white guy that we would, want on you're not going to have tea with him. And then I said, no, please. And I didn't say please to it. I'd never say please to AI. Don't anthropomorphize it. But then I said, try again. And it gave me this woman on the left as white. But again, it looked very clearly contrived. It was not natural. Like this looks like a natural grouping of people. When I kept trying to say, will you give me real diversity? It kept saying, I don't know if you know what you mean, woman. I know what diversity is. This is diversity. And so I thought that was an interesting thing to encounter when you're trying to use the AI. I could not get it to form what I want it to form. Yes.
I actually have another specific example of something like that.
Really?
Where for a course we were using AI to make case studies for an immunology class, and we were designing fake patients. Every single image we created of the patient was very slim. And there were a couple cases where we wanted somebody who was
normal.
And ChatGPT would not. They would make it, we would be like, make them larger, make them heavier, make them fatter. And they would give them like a skinny neck and a big face. And it was just, it could not figure that out.
Couldn't compute.
And that was definitely another case of bias.
Yes.
That I hadn't even previously thought of.
That is fascinating. So the example she was sharing was trying to get case studies of immunology, and it needing to have, it gave all slim people and trying to get some more normal sized people. And it was almost a caricature. I mean, it was not working. It's not seeing it. Yeah. Anything else? You've been a really wonderful interactive group. I appreciate that. It was kind of a, I wasn't sure what I was going to get for crowd interaction. So I really appreciate that. Anybody from on site, online? Do we have any online anything? Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us, all of you. And I think we're right at our time to go to have a break. So yeah, and QR code it. By the way, the cool QR code tip I'm going to give you. Google does not make QR codes automatically. It's an extension, but you employ the extension in Chrome, you install that, and then you go in. This is the trick that thank goodness somebody showed me. You go into your extensions, and not only do you turn it on, but there's another box where it says pin to my toolbar. Check that. And then any web page you go to, you click your little QR code up at the corner, and it will automatically make a QR code for whatever you want, whatever document, whatever PowerPoint, whatever PDF, if it's out there on the web. So, but you need to pin to your toolbar to make it easy to find. Otherwise, you have to always go in and go to the extension and, excuse me, open it directly. But it's much easier to have it on your toolbar. So gamma and pinning to toolbar. Thank you all.